In the whispering woods, where trees whispered secrets and flowers giggled, lived a fluffy white rabbit named Benny. Benny wasn't just any rabbit. He had the wiggliest nose and the floppiest ears of all his friends. Every morning, he'd munch on the dew-kissed clover, feeling quite content. But his most prized possession wasn't the clover. Oh no. It was a sparkly, bright orange carrot, the biggest and juiciest carrot he had ever seen. He called it his Glimmering Carrot, and he kept it safe in his cozy burrow, right next to his favorite sleeping leaf. One sunny Tuesday, Benny woke up with a yawn as wide as a dandelion puff. "Time for a nibble of my glimmering carrot," he squeaked, his whiskers twitching with excitement. He hopped over to his special spot, burrowing his little paw into the soft earth. But his paw felt nothing. His sleepy eyes blinked open, wide and round like marbles. His glimmering carrot wasn't there. Benny searched under his sleeping leaf. He dug a tiny hole where it usually sat. He even peeked behind his collection of shiny pebbles. Poof! It was gone. Fear, cold and prickly like a winter twig, tickled Benny's tummy. His little heart went thump, 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 much faster than usual. His ears drooped, and his wobbly nose stopped wiggling. He felt a tear, round and shiny like a morning dewdrop, roll down his cheek. "My glimmering carrot!" he wailed, his voice a tiny squeak. "It's gone! Oh, what will I do?" He hopped out of his burrow, his usually energetic bounces now sad little thumps. The whispering woods didn't seem so bright anymore. He sniffled, remembering how shiny and sweet his carrot had been. He needed to tell someone who could help him with this big, fuzzy feeling in his chest. First, Benny found Pip, a quick little squirrel with a bushy red tail and eyes as bright as tiny acorns. Pip was always collecting nuts and knew all the best hiding spots. He was a very busy squirrel, always chattering and zipping here and there. Pip was sitting on a mossy branch, carefully sorting his breakfast. "Pip!" Benny cried, his voice still a bit wobbly. Pip nearly dropped his perfect hazelnut. "My glimmering carrot is gone! Poof! Vanished!" Pip tilted his head, his tiny whiskers twitching. "Gone, you say? That's a pickle! A big, crunchy pickle!" Pip hopped down and scampered closer, his little nose sniffing the ground around Benny's burrow. He looked carefully at the soft earth. He chattered. "No muddy paw prints, no telltale nibbles. It didn't roll away on its own, I'll wager." Next, they found Rosie, a gentle badger with soft brown fur and kind, wise eyes. Rosie was digging for delicious grubs near the roots of the eldest oak. She was very patient and noticed small things that others might miss. Her paws were strong, and she could dig the deepest holes in the whole forest. "Rosie," Pip chattered, pointing with a tiny claw at Benny. "Benny's glimmering carrot has vanished like a puff of smoke." Rosie stopped her digging, her broad snout lifting. Her eyes, usually calm, showed a little spark of concern. "Oh, Benny, dear," she rumbled softly, her voice like a warm hug. "That's a fright. Did you leave it somewhere unusual?" Benny shook his head, his ears flopping. "No, it was right next to my sleeping leaf, snug as a bug." Rosie looked around Benny's burrow with care. Her nose wiggled, smelling the air. "I do smell something sweet, not quite carroty, but flowery? And a little bit like giggles?" she murmured, her brow furrowing slightly. Then all three of them went to find Flick, a playful firefly who zipped and zoomed through the forest, always lighting up everyone's day. Flick loved riddles and puzzles, and always showed them the way at night. He had a tiny, bright light at his tail that blinked on and off, on and off. "Flick!" they all called together. Flick zipped down from a giant mushroom, his light blinking faster in excitement. "Benny's glimmering carrot is gone!" Pip squeaked. Flick buzzed around Benny's head, his light casting tiny dancing shadows. "A mystery, a grand adventure of finding," he chirped. "Let's follow the clues." Flick looked at Rosie. "Flowery giggles, you say, Rosie? And a sweet scent? That sounds like a certain someone who loves sparkly things and flowers. Benny, Pip, Rosie, and Flick put their minds together. They decided to retrace Benny's steps from that morning. Where did Benny go first? To the clover patch. They scurried to the lush green patch where Benny loved to eat his breakfast. Benny sniffed, his nose twitching. "I remember nibbling here," he mumbled. Pip, with his sharp eyes, spotted something. "Look, a tiny pink petal, and another! These aren't from the clover," he chattered, pointing with his claw. The petals were a shimmering pink, not like any.